does. It really does.
If you're going 100 or 120 miles an hour, you need to feel like you're secure.
Yeah.
That is the real Uncle Rob. That is my dad. The original owner and the second owner.
Uncle Dad.
And they weren't even going to fight about who got the drive at first, which was a little disappointing because I thought that would make this video funny. You want to arm wrestle for it?
I'd win.
But when did you buy this thing? Like, fill the people in on the backstory.
2003, I ordered it. Got it from a place up in Grove City. Picked the color. Needed something different than the white one. So we got red. Denver liked those wheels. Those wheels are ugly.
Yes, they are very ugly.
That's all that came with it. Wanted to get roof lights, but they don't do that anymore.
Because your 95 had cab lights, didn't it?
Yeah.
I know you sold it to him and he didn't know that you painted part of it in the garage.
No, he ripped me off.
Let's go look at that.
Yeah, that wasn't a very good paint job, but the paint wasn't good. Did it with a spray can.
It looked better when you did it. It's been aging for...
Yeah, it doesn't have clear coat on it, so that's why it doesn't look shiny. The brake master thing's still on here.
From the motorhome towing days.
Yep.
Are you getting good use out of the Harley pad on the seatbelt?
Yeah, we left that there.
It's classic. So I was trying to figure out exactly when I bought this, but because I think it was actually
2007.
The end of 07, because I think you bought the 08 Suburban at the end of 07, because it was an 08.
Right.
And it was still new, like new.
What's different on the engine besides this stuff?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Spark plugs. Who's gonna drive first?
I will.
Go for it.
And right now the exhaust cutout is open, so the exhaust is coming out before the muffler. I can close it and then it'll sound exactly like it did before, but it's slower, so we left it open.
Yeah, your neighbors don't care.
No, it's really not that loud. You know, move your seat around back to where you used to put it 12 years ago. Does it still feel familiar, or has it been too long to remember it?
It's been too long.
You think it'll come back to you?
Spent a lot of time in here. 100,000 miles is how many hours?
It's a lot of hours. All right, you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, let's go.
Pretty cool.
You weren't expecting that, were you? Because usually you can pull out of here and just floor, and this thing is just, and it just kind of goes up the hill.
Yeah. Can't wait to get out on the road. How many horsepower does this thing have?
It makes 530 at the wheel, so it's a little over 600 at the crankshaft. You weren't ready for that, were you?
Sort of. I didn't go all the way as soon as I could.
I hate that AC compressor rattling in there is extremely annoying, but I wonder what Uncle Rob's thinking back there. Oh, that guy's... Does it feel faster than your Cayenne did?
I don't know. I was just thinking, like, 'cause with the Cayenne, like, I could just dart around people. With this thing, I don't feel like I could dart. The Cayenne, you got supreme confidence because you got great brakes, great handling, big fat tires. With this thing, it's straight line speed. You can't do crazy. Did you do anything to the brakes in this?
Yeah, it's got good pads and rotors on it, and they helped a lot from how it used to be. The brakes, you think they're bad now, they were terrible before.
Just a regular transmission?
No, it's a 480. This is one from a 2500 truck. So you can hold the gas and the brake at the same time. You know how to do a burnout?
No, but I'll try. Ready?
Yep.
Look at those. Does Uncle Rob approve?
That was pretty good.
It was pretty good.
What'd you point at?
She said do it right there. When do you have a neighbor that sees you do a burnout and says do it right there and points in front of their house?
So how's that burnout, Frank?
That was pretty good. I wasn't sure how you'd handle it.
That guy's gonna call the police.
You think so?
Guaranteed.
I don't care. Bring it up my front yard.
Okay, we'd have to wait till they're done golfing.
Did you put the LS in?
It's the Turbo 5.3.
Really?
Yeah,
That's gotta be fun.
it is.
The guy down the street,
Try
you
it up
know
all you
him?
want. I don't care.
The guy down the street didn't look
We're
too
coming back
happy.
to the entrance right now.
Yeah, down that way's a little older.
Shop.
Yeah. He was staring at me
Yeah.
carrying a kid,
Yeah.
but he didn't.
Right.
You know, we didn't do anything down there.
Yeah, up around here, no. When my kid's in the house, burn it.
Okay.
Is that your very first burnout?
Yeah, maybe not my first, but it's definitely the longest.
The first one you did on purpose?
Probably.
Okay.
I never did one in the GT350. Seems like a wait.
Yeah, that's pretty good. You could literally sit here with this thing, and if a cop pulled up, they would see the lines and see this and think, who did this?
Wasn't me.
It wasn't that guy. I guess you need to do a acceleration from a stop, and then you'll have the full experience, and we can have Uncle Rob do the same stuff.
Acceleration from a stop. What do you mean?
Like, do what you did before, but try not to do a burnout first. Like, just kind of stop somewhere and then floor it, but not on this road. You want to go faster than 40 miles an hour.
Could see Logan's arm on Still smoking tire.
That's why four-wheel drive is helpful, because it doesn't do that.
Just seems like you should slow down.
What, this thing?
Yeah. It could be dangerous for an old man like me. How was it?
The core bed.
So Uncle Rob's gonna drive Uncle Rob.
Awesome.
It's weird for me to refer to this thing as Uncle Rob because you're Uncle Rob.
Yeah.
So it was kind of weird for me, like the first, couple months of calling this thing Uncle Rob.
Yeah.
You got to get it all back to where you got it.
Yeah, I'm trying to.
Is it still a familiar zone for you, or is too much time passed?
Nah, it's still pretty good. We're almost out of gas.
I think it doesn't work. It's full.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
When I put the new gas tank in it, I did something wrong. Don't crash.
Oh my gosh.
If you're gonna do a burnout, you better make sure you're starting in the street, because you're not gonna end up in the street.
Definitely not. Has he ever done a burnout, you think?
Maybe.
Maybe.
What's the clickies noises?
That's the broken AC compressor pulley from race week. You interrupted the church bells. How does that feel?
Amazing. I think I'd blow this thing up in about a day.
You think you'd blow it up?
In a couple of days.
Because you'd want to do that all the time?
All the time. It just wants to.
It does, it really does. It's gonna spin again, so just be prepared for that. I don't want to go to the hospital. Did you hear it chirp the tires on the shift?
No, I didn't hear it.
Church bells.
Why is that? Was it time? 5 o'clock.
Is it?
brakes aren't bad either.
I upgraded them.
Yeah.
Drive the same all the other ways.
It seems tighter. Not as loose as it was.
I didn't change anything.
It seems to be better than it had been.
You're going 80.
Yeah.
What's going through your head right now?
I want my vehicle back. No. It'd be kind of fun to put a turbocharger on the, if we could figure out something, whatever's going on with that transmission. Like I said, I'd be happy to put in a 4L80 in it. Get rid of the, whatever it is.
That thing can be tuned to not be stupid anymore.
Well, it's not good. Logan knows all. I mean, she's like, wow, this is really bad. I'm like, yeah. It's just annoying. But like, if I'm over 40 and punch it, it's fine. It takes off. But come on, dumbass. Neighbors love us.
Well, I am not dead. That's a win.
We're losing some rubber on those tires.
We're the whole time you just think, I bought those tires.
I did, actually. They last forever though, don't they?
Not unless you're doing that.
Yeah, that's true.
The Denali's way more comfortable than the Yukon.
Yeah.
Way.
Well, that's a no-brainer.
This will be the thumbnail
The
picture.
thumbnail, that'd be so funny.
Yeah.
Like, do like a Step Brothers thing though.
How do the Step Brothers pose? Well, so,
Let's
yeah.
Google it so they can do it. That'd be so funny.
He doesn't want to do it.
I'm the older, but I'm like this.
Something like that.
Yeah, that's so funny.
Well, so what are your thoughts?
I want one.
Would you rather have this in its current form than the one you're currently driving?
That's actually a really hard question considering you experienced the transmission.
Yeah.
It would be nice to have a transmission that actually got up and went like this one does. But once I get that corrected, probably not.
What about you? What did you think was going to be like going into this? Did you have any idea?
I expected it to be really powerful just because you've built it, you've done it, and I've seen all your videos. So I expected it to be powerful, but I didn't know what it would feel like. So my expectations were it was going to be powerful and fast. It's just doesn't handle the way I'd like it to handle. So you can't keep going fast. If you're going 100 or 120 miles an hour, you need to feel like you're secure.
Yeah. I mean, I just like a wider space so that when the back end comes out, you can do a little correction to straighten it out.
You can just let it skate a little bit.
Do a little skating around. It'd be fun.
The brakes are literally steaming. You can see steam coming out of the wheel well.
This one?
Yeah.
You can smell the pads.
These brakes are way better than your brakes are warped.
I'm not surprised. You can feel it. They weren't like that initially, but they're definitely.
So these different rotors, so they're drilled?
Yeah, the different rotors. The EBC pads and rotors, the same ones I use on the Escalade.
So this is what you put on my Escalade?
That's what I would use, yeah.
We need to get you to move back for a few weeks.
Well, I could just take your car with me.
That's possible. What are you gonna leave me with?
This.
Okay,
if,
that works.
if you want a turbo on that, this will be your loaner.
So what's the hardest part about turbo in this thing?
The headlight.
Yeah, I guess probably the transmission swap was the most involving process of this particular one, but your Escalade doesn't need a transmission swap to handle being turboed, which makes it a lot easier.
Do I need twins or just one? Twins would look cooler, but
I say I keep trying to ask you guys on-topic questions, then you veer off somewhere else, like talking about roof shingles or something.
Sorry, man.
so get us back on topic.
Well, I don't know. What do you have to say about your own personal experiences or expectations to this thing that people are watching this video wondering if they want to do this?
Everyone should do it. Like, there's no reason not to do it. I mean,
Other than cost.
if you want a fast,
And time.
powerful, big, useful SUV, you should do it. I never drove the supercharged Escalade, so I don't know what that was like. How does that compare to this?
It was a little bit faster, but it was like it was a lot more solid. Like, this is very, you know, floaty. That thing was more stable and secure.
Uncle
Just 'cause
Rob
it was newer.
Uncle Rob is ready for the dirt track.
Did you ever think that 5 years ago, when you were like, don't do anything to that Escalade, that you would sit here and drive your old work truck with 600 horsepower and think this is cool, everybody should do this?
Yeah, never thought of that. How could I?
I don't know.
It was out of the realm of possibility. No one ever really even thought about this until you started doing what you did to the Escalade. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, there are a couple, I guess if you actually do some searches, you can find some bigger vehicles, but as far as someone who's driven this for whatever, 07, so that's what, 14 years I basically drove it. Never would have imagined this thing going like it was going earlier today. It's incredible. It's fun. It's a blast.
Your memories of driving this are fresher than mine, because I've had 7 cars since then. Probably. How many cars have I had since then? Suburban.
I'm confident.
F-150,
I'm confident that you never babied this thing any more than.
BMW.
I mean, I know I didn't baby it. When I was on the interstates, I was doing 80 minimum. This is the way I drove for 5, 6, 7 hours in a row. As long as I could keep it going, I went. That's you know how you get when you're doing highway driving. 80 feels like you're doing 40 after a while.
I feel like you're making time if you're doing 80.
Yeah.
If you're driving for 5 or 6 hours, you're chopping, 10 minutes off every hour or something. That adds up.
But it would really be fun actually to be on the highway, like the turnpike, doing like 80, where some jerk in a whatever comes up behind you and wants you to get out of their way, and then just punch it. Yeah, but this thing is totally in disguise. Nobody would look at this and say to themselves, well, I mean, I bet you that thing's fast.
So what are you going to do to this thing now? Just leave it the way it is?
For a while, yeah. It's going to need a camshaft before you turn the boost off, because this is only 10 pounds. This turbo could make, 150 horsepower more than this with a couple changes.
So the stock horsepower on this is what, 300?
Like 305 or something like that.
And the stock horsepower on the 6.2s, like your dad's and mine?
450.
So a turbocharger, you could get that up to 600 easy without doing any major mods.
Nope.
Other than the
So would you
transmission.
put new wheels and tires on it and get rid of the running boards?
This, I think I have to leave it exactly the way it is, because it is what it is. I'll have a different set of wheels for it eventually, because all 3 of my Suburbans are interchangeable wheels, but these are like the default just because it's supposed to be stock and boring looking. Whenever you did the first acceleration burnout and you were kind of like all over the place, at any point did your like butt pucker like, oh crap, I'm gonna put this thing in the
No,
trees?
because I knew what to expect watching him.
Did it do that to you? Were you prepared for that?
I didn't realize I was burning rubber until I looked in the mirror and saw all the smoke. And then I realized that I was actually burning rubber, and then it started to skate out on me a little bit. So then I kind of backed off.
We'll have to see if that matches the video.
Was it funny watching your old truck do a huge burnout?
Yeah, it was actually. I mean, it's pretty amazing to think of. I mean, otherwise I would have thought there was a problem with this thing. Like, holy shit, blew up.
Oh, Something I would like to add, and I haven't said anything till the camera was on purpose. You said you have a 2-wheel drive Denali now.
Yes.
Did you ever have to use 4-wheel drive in this in the winter?
Never. Ever. Ever.
He already knows.
Why? Was it on 4-wheel drive the entire time?
Yeah, this does not have 2-wheel drive. It's automatic. It's in 4 high all the time. It has...
Is that why I got such crappy gas mileage?
I don't... Well, it's like automatic, so it's like all-wheel drive. See, you have 4 low,
Right.
neutral,
Right.
and automatic. So if it was slipping, the front wheels turned on. So if you
Okay.
thought you were in 2-wheel drive and you got yourself out of a snow pile, it was in 4-wheel drive.
Huh.
Because we put this thing on the dyno and the front wheels were trying to turn.
I know. I remember that.
So this is the future documentation of what is now, I guess, your future race car, so to speak.
This is my daily driver. How do we open that? It's the first time I've ever opened it. Oops.
What was that?
I don't know, some kind of rubber stopper bumper thing.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot going on in here. Ready for turbos.
Lots of room.
Yes,
Engine bay, pretty much like the other Escalade engine bay.
very similar, yeah. So do you want to explain why you always have Suburbans?
I need to find a picture of it, but Suburbans weren't the original SUV in the family.
Not for you.
No, for the entire Stapleton family.
International Harvester Travelall.
What we had originally.
When you were growing up.
When I find a
In the
picture of
70s.
it, when I get a picture of it, I'll send it to you.
So maybe I need to have a International Harvester travel all.
It always used to overheat. Going to Buffalo one time and there was a noise coming out of it. Had to crawl in the back and listen to it while Grandma was driving. I was like 14 years old. I'm back there by the wheel well listening. I think, Mom, I think it's a wheel. It's probably like a bearing or something. Turns out it was a bearing.
Really?
It's going bad, yeah.
So why do you have these now? What do you like? Why are they your work vehicle? You know, I know, but explain to
There's
these
the answer. Look in the back.
work stuff.
Work stuff.
What do those do?
That's a helium leak detector used extensively in the automotive industry to test air conditioning components, compressors, condensers, all the lines, fuel rails, fuel pumps, headlights, anything that's hermetically sealed on your car that has a
Airbags.
tight enough spec will be helium leak tested with something similar to that. I've been selling them for 30 years, so you need to be able to haul them around in the back, because you never know when somebody's going to call you when you're out in the middle of Michigan saying, hey Dave, you still got those leak detectors? Can I see one? We might need to buy it. So you just have to have one with you. So we do. And this one fell out of the back of my Porsche and rolled down the highway.
So you had a brief hiatus from suburban work truck and you had a Cayenne.
Yep.
How do you like going back to something that's big enough to throw tons of stuff in?
Love the utility of this. Miss the performance and the handling of the Cayenne.
That's why we're going to turbocharge this, right?
Yeah, turbo it and lower it with better brakes, and you'd be amazed at how much better it handles once it's lowered.
Plus, like the Porsche Cayenne Turbo with 22-inch wheels, or were they, maybe they're 21s. If they weren't brand new and you're driving in the winter with all season radials on the highway, it had no traction. The wheelbase was too short and it would just hydroplane. Little tiny cars would pass me in snowstorms going 65 miles an hour and I'd have to slow down and keep going slower to not hydroplane.
Did you use this for the same thing that he does? Did you ever carry these around back there?
Mm-hmm.
So you both did the same thing.
More than one. Used to pick people up at the airport with their luggage, and that was always convenient to have one of these because you could put anything in them. You could pretty much pick up and take out, like take a crew of people out for lunch and had no problem with space. It was like a mobile office, which is basically what it is.
I know you used it for that. You remember when you made that piece of wood to go in the center console so you could write on it while you were driving?
Yeah, I wonder what happened there.
Yeah, I don't know. Did you ever get a piece of wood for the center console?
I might even have it.
Really?
It's possible.
In yours?
Well, did you look inside?
Yeah, it's not in there. You know what I'm talking about though? It was like radius to the shape of the center console.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Because when I cleaned it out, I might have actually put it in my box of everything gets dumped in here.
I know that video's been long awaited, pretty cool, and we'll definitely have to do that again more often as Uncle Rob expands in phases, and it might even be cool to have them drive the Escalade too. Definitely my dad, but I'll have to turn it down so he doesn't, you know, he won't be ready for that. Definitely not. So, yeah. But you may have seen the shirts we're wearing. You can go to StablesandAutoworks.com and get the Uncle Rob Yukon shirt on there. Check it out. That's the one. We are we're still in Pennsylvania right now, but we have all the merch with us. We weren't planning on being gone this long. We weren't even planning on coming here. So if you've ordered something since like June 22nd, I think is when we left, we're shipping it now. I actually ordered plastic baggies and label paper to use the house printer so we can ship merch from here, because it was never our plan, but we're making it work because that's what we do. He's happy to be here. He's have some extra room and stuff.
He learned how to swim.
Yeah, he did. Good boy.
Cool.
StableandAutoworks.com, check it out. And if you thought this was cool, send it to a friend, hit the subscribe button, leave a comment, anything like that. That all helps things grow. And since, you know, we're kind of in a transition period right now in terms of what kind of content we're making, things have been slow, so everything helps. I'm glad you guys are here. The next video is actually Logan learning how to drive this. So yeah, if you're wondering what this car is, that gets explained in the next video too, so you're gonna want to watch that. Isn't that right?
Yes. Huh?
I thought you were gonna say something else.
Oh. No.
I need to film this.
You need to trust him.
Okay, so this hesitation thing he's talking about is like seriously bad. Watch this. What is that? That is the weirdest thing. It's not like...
So try one of these and I'll hold this.
Okay.
Where do you want me to hold this?
Wherever.
Camera's on you.
Let Logan hold it.
Yeah, okay, so what am I...
So now put it in
Manuel.
manual, and now you got the shifter here.
Yeah.
Try that. Not much good.
No. It has nothing to do with the shifting of the gears. It's like starting.
Yeah.
It's like this is broken. This truck is broken.
Yeah, but once you get out of that, it's fine. Like when I'm driving down the highway, if I'm on the highway doing 60 and I punch it, it takes off.
But there's not as much torque on it when you're already in motion.
It has something to do with being stopped. Does it do it in reverse?
No, well, I can't tell you that I've tried.
It probably wouldn't, because there's it's a different, all the force and the weight and stuff is now reversed. And so whatever's undone, like it's like there's something undone there and it's not connected in the right geometry, and then it kicks itself into place once you start rolling. It's definitely shaking from the back.
I almost think that's like a transmission clutch confusion thing, because if it was the rear end would be having issues all the time. It's not normal. How do you live with this?
Well,
Just baby it.